Good afternoon. It's the end of April when people should be going out and enjoying the sun, and sad to say that we have got somebody put all this rubbish here. It is really sad. It doesn't take that long to put it in the council rubbish that is collected every week, where it's all sorted, metal, plastic, and this would be reused or recycled. But to just dump it into an area where the bluebells are just about to come, and since one of these black bags has a croquet stick in it, it's obviously come from somebody with a big house. I have never played croquet, but somebody has, and somebody is sadly not understanding that it's people who work very hard to keep the land clear, ready, nicely clear of all rubbish so that everybody can enjoy. And we give up our time and our energy for free so that people can do this type of totally, sadly, unthinking behavior. There is no other option. It is just unthinking behavior, selfish behavior, not understanding what the impact is on the wildlife and on the plants. This has crushed the lovely bluebells which are beginning to bloom, and everybody enjoys the bluebells. The insects do, the birds do, the humans do, and the scent is overpowering when all the bluebells are out. But to do this is senseless and very sad. We really need to educate the young. This is not done by the young. This is done by an adult who has driven here, walked over, spent some time just tipping it out. What did they think somebody was going to do? Just leave it there as an eyesore? Now I've got to spend time clearing this up and sorting it out so that it goes into the various council bins, which I pay for. They're not free. I pay for them. And everybody around here has bins: green, brown, black. Black is for what you cannot use and it goes into the landfill or it is burnt. Green where you recycle, and brown for garden waste. This is here. Every week it is collected. People are still doing this really sad, mindless behavior. I don't know what gave them pleasure, why they couldn't just sort it out and put it in their bin is outside my understanding. Very sad. This is again end of April and the brambles haven't come through, so you can see the little city that is here. It's quite extensive. This one is, if I can put a spade there, and you can then see the size of the hole. This is a normal size spade, and you can see how big. So some animal, whether it is a fox or a badger, we don't know. There are lots, or some of them could be rabbit holes, but there is quite a big city here. If you turn to the other side of the path, there is more, and someone or something has taken out all the sandy soil, and they're obviously living down there. It's I nearly put my foot into this one. So here we are. So this is a city for some creature that lives in the wood, and long may they live happily here. Thank you. Here is a lovely bed of stinging nettles. Stinging nettles can be used for many things, but in the wood, what interests me is that the butterflies lay their eggs on there, and then they hatch next year. So they should be hatching. It's a bit cold at the moment. So this is from last year, the white stalks of stinging nettles, and that's this year's growth. This is end of April in Kent. It's the 26th of April 2021, and already, because of the massive sunshine we've had this week, you can see the bluebells have put up their heads a lot more This is the same bed that I showed you last week, and now you can see that there are loads and loads and loads of bluebells. Loads of them. You can see the path, and it's now got a blue tinge, a carpet of blue, purple, as well as a nice scent. The primroses are still in full bloom. Now you've got yellow and purple, so they will be like this together for some time. Then of course the primroses will die back, and all we will have is the carpet of blue. It really is purple or blue, whatever you want to call it. It's absolutely amazing. The grass in the meadow is not doing too well. A, it is dry. B, there are lots of rabbits as well as deer, so they are cropping, but I think all this cropping is by the rabbits. It would be good if we could eat rabbit, then we could make rabbit stew. People used to eat rabbit once. It was a delicacy, but it has now gone out of favor, so the rabbits are multiplying and eating the grass. This grass is for the horses. It should be cropped around August, so hopefully we will see it grow, but at the moment there is hardly any growth here because of the rabbits. The bluebells are growing at the edge of the field, and they are really, really good in the sense that there are loads of bluebells. And I shall show you a close-up of a bluebell. Here is a bluebell, quite close-up. And there's another one. They're all opened up because it is very warm and dry day. Well, it is 9 Celsius, relatively warm. You can see the purple bluebells coming up. At one time in May, this will be nothing but purple. That will be all. But at the moment, May is just around the corner. Saturday will be May. Friday is 30th of April. But there you are. That's spring in Kent. Here is another patch with the bluebells coming through. The bluebells are mixed with stinging nettles as well as blackberries, but that is the way they're growing. But you can see some of the bluebells over there are just beginning to come through. This was the drain pipe that was put in order to drain the wood, but because the horses walk all over it, they have exposed the beam, and if we don't cover it, then it will crack the pipe, and then it is major effort. So a stitch in time saves 9. We have to cover this with earth. So here we are busy covering it with earth to protect the plastic pipe. The pipe has now been buried, even though it has been quite dry for a few weeks, but the soil is still damp. Rain is predicted, but I don't know if it will come here. But at the moment, the rest of the soil is very, very dry. This is an old oak tree, and lots of fungus is growing on the oak tree. Lots and lots of microbes and insects live on the oak tree. If you look it up, it's well over 2,000 different species of insects and microbes that inhabit. So when you take down an oak tree, you are ruining a city of well over 2,000 inhabitants. And one has to think of that. When you're taking down a tree is not just giving you oxygen, it is home for lots of insects and birds as well as bats. So it is very, very important that we look after our trees. The undergrowth in the wood is growing well. The trees have got no leaf yet, and these are oak trees, and they have no leaf on it as well yet. Here is the pond again. You can see the water level has gone down. Let us hope that it is replenished soon. And that is an oak tree that fell in a storm. It is very, very heavy. Oak is hardwood. The other trees are beginning to come into leaf, but we shall monitor them. If there you see an oak and an ash tree, I was taught a poem, Oak Before Ash, which means if oak leaves come out before ash leaves, there'll be a splash. So very little rain. Oak before ash, there'll be a splash. Ash before oak, there will be a soak. So I shall monitor the oak trees and the ash trees and see which one comes into bloom. So that is a old wives or old farmers ditty. It goes well. Ash before oak, there will be a soak. Oak before ash, there will be a splash. Here the wood anemones, or the milkmaids as they're called in Kent, are growing at the same time in the same space as the bluebells. But they should be in full bloom very soon, and then it will be lovely to see the milkmaids and the bluebells all blossoming and shining together. Another one of those pipes which has been put in to drain the wood. Again, the horses walking over them remove the mud and the earth. So if you don't do that, the plastic pipe will burst. There will be no point. This area will again be marshy and it will be a job to walk through. So at the moment we are trying to cover the pipe with earth. That is the pipe, nicely buried now. We had to take mud from there, lovely leaf mold, and put it on the pipe. And so now the pipe is protected from cracking by the horses' hooves and people also walking. The unfavorable part of the wood where no work is done and the trees have not been coppiced, so all that grows is bracken and blackberries bushes. This is again lots and lots of bracken. Mr. Bat, who is now sadly not with us, he's deceased, he told me that they kept cattle here, so the cattle used to keep the bracken down. But now there are no cattle here. Cattle will need to have fences so they don't go wandering off. A lot of work, as well as lot of energy will need to be expended on them. There is, apart from the streams, there is no water here, and the bracken has taken over. It is coming through, but at the moment the bluebells are still trying to come through, and they are succeeding. There are a few milkmaids in this part of the wood, but then the bracken is very close by, as well as a few bluebell bulbs really. But the milkmaids are still trying to put up a good show. There is a better bed of milkmaids. They're pointing their faces different directions depending on the sunlight that they're getting. And it is interesting where they're getting more sunlight from, though the sun is high in the sky, and they have their faces turned quite strangely to different directions, but they must be getting more sun in that direction, otherwise they wouldn't be doing that. So here they are, loads and loads of milkmaids. They really do look like stars. They are so soft and silky, and they look like milk, and I can understand why they are called milkmaids, because they are absolutely beautiful. The video does not do justice to them. They are amazingly beautiful plants. These two milkmaid flowers are pointing towards the sun, and you can see how beautiful they are. They are amazingly beautiful flowers with lovely green leaves lovely combination of leaves with serrated edges, very soft, and the flowers are just out of this world. This is a good patch of milkmaids because they have come through the bracken. So there are milkmaids first, then the bracken, and on the edges are the bluebells when they come. They are still just in the leaf stage. These are the leaves of the bluebells mixed up with the milkmaids, and those are the leaves of the milkmaids. This patch of bluebells is doing quite well, and there you can see two milkmaid flowers mixed with the bluebells, and the white with the purple of the bluebells is just stunning, absolutely stunning. Here you can see that some milkmaids on their reverse have got purple color. So there's purple and there's the beautiful white of the starry milkmaids. Here is another patch of milkmaids. Enjoy them while they are still out because they are just stunning, absolutely stunning. And you can see the back of the milkmaids are purple. This ride was cut in 2010. It now needs to be recut a little. Not as much work. Mark Shelley helped us, or Len Shelley, the artist, helped us to cut this. And he died in 2010, October. So we did it in 2009. And now it's 11 years. So we do need to go back and sort this out. And all the hard work that he did, it shouldn't go to waste. The reason for coppicing this ride is that the insects and the butterflies can have a run, as well as the bats can hunt, and they need a clear run, and for that this has to be done. Here the milkmaids are also doing quite well. There are quite density of milkmaids. You can see that quite a few of them, all opened and looking at the sun. This part of the Kentish wood just has milkmaids, nothing else. That's all it has. And there are no bluebells here. It's mixed up with a few stinging nettles and blackberries. But mostly it is, as far as your eye can see, it is just milkmaids. Looks like the stars have come down from the sky in daylight. So there they are, as far as the eye can see, nothing but milkmaids. The sun is streaming through the wood, so all the wood anemones are open, and as far as the eye can see, there are white stars on the ground, with the sun falling on the white stars. Still April in Kent. Here is another view. You can see how dense the foliage is, as well as how dense the flowers are of the wood anemones, or the milkmaids as the locals call them. Kent in April. Here is a little patch of wood anemones right amongst the bracken. And they really do look like stars. So that's a very dense patch of stars on the ground in the wood in April in Kent.